Hello, my name's Artemis, and it is that time of year where the nights are drawing in sooner, the wind is blowing a bit colder, and everything's just a bit darker and more grey. We seek out that warmth and that comfort, and just try and get cozy until it gets warm again. Which means basically it's slipper season, bitches, and hopefully you are starting to adorn your chilly little feet with something warm, plush, and cozy. And I know that might be something we're not all experienced in, and I thought I would dispense my expertise and my knowledge and tell you about some of the slippers that might actually help you get through this winter season, because it's gonna be a cold one and your toes, they deserve some comfort and warmth, okay? So fuck it. Let's go through it. Let's go through some slippers. Let's do it. Yes! Okay, before we delve fully into the world of slippers, we of course have to mention that us furries can cheat. Yes, if you have a fursuit and you have the feet paws as well, they are essentially usually built like slippers, unless they're the outdoor kind which are built on shoes, which are just boring. Essentially, if you already have this thing laying around, then it's going to be the most convenient thing for you to grab when your toes start to feel the chill. Obviously, they are essentially just slippers anyway, only, cuter and with a better design and more plush a lot of the times. They're essentially just big fluffy pillows you can stick your feet into, and I mean, what's not to like about that? Now, I would class these more as lounge slippers. Like, they're the kind that if you're just sitting around on a laptop or just watching TV, stick them on your feet, get a bit toasty, but I wouldn't advise walking around in them that much because, well, I mean, they're delicate, more delicate than traditional slippers, and you don't want to wear them out just by wearing them around the house, and then it comes to a convention and everyone can see your socks through the bottom of your beans. Not that everyone's going to be looking at the bottom of your beans. So we're going to start off light in the world of slippers first, and then build up to the more, plush and bigger varieties, and we're going to start off with the flip-flop slippers. Yes, these are traditional flip-flops you can just use. Fuck it, if you want, just go for some Havaianas or something. But you can also get the slipper varieties that are sort of fur-lined, some of them, which can apparently be trashy, according to the people who've seen me wearing them, bastards. But also the plushy kind, which are sometimes harder to find, but can definitely help out. Now, a lot of people don't like the idea of slippers because you feel like you're going to get overheated or you're going to get sweaty and disgusting, and fair enough, I don't like that feeling either. These could be something that bridges the gap because you can slip them on, be really comfy, they can help with the soles of your feet being warm, but they're not too much, if that makes sense. They're not too heavy, not too clunky, easier to wear than some other types perhaps. And if the main source of your feet being cold is the ground that you're walking on, if it's like hardwood or lino or something like that, or tiles, then this would be a good barrier. This would be something that would protect against that cold, nice and comfortable as well, but it's not too much that you're going to end up overheating. Of course, if you do want something a bit extra, there's plenty of varieties for that. Ah yes, the slip-on slipper, pretty much the classic slipper that I imagine most people thought of when you say the word slippers. These are probably the most common that you can find out and about as well, and that can be good and also bad. It means there's plenty of designs, so you can usually pick them up from basically anywhere, but that also means that a lot of them can be pretty shitty as well, because quality isn't always there. A lot of times you'll feel a very, very synthetic feeling from the fabric and the lining, and the padding will just be something like fucking polystyrene, which is shit. Like, I swear I've had a pair that were cardboard once. What the fuck? These can be really good though if you get the sort of variety that I get, that are like fleece lined with a bit of a fluffy cuff, because they look good and they have a nice rubber outsole, which means they're hard wearing. You can make them last quite a while. They do tend to get flattened down a little bit. That's the main problem that you have with them. And of course they don't hold to the foot all that well, but you end up shuffling and sliding around. But they do protect the top of your foot and your toes, and it's only really leaving the heel exposed. So they're still quite light, but they offer quite a decent amount of protection. You do just have that drawback of them, being quite difficult to walk in sometimes if you don't get ones that are nicely padded and fit your feet quite well. Another classic slipper type here, the moccasins. Now, if you like the idea of the slip-on slippers and you think, oh yeah, but what if my heels get cold and I don't really want to be tripping over them, these bad boys are the ones for you. They are typically fluffy lined, or at least that's the best type that you can get. You can get them like cloth, but why bother if you can have soft fluff, honestly? That's a good rule for life. And they are essentially just shoe slippers. A lot of them can have fabric or leather soles, but mostly they have a hard-wearing rubber outsole because they are designed to be used both indoors and for light outdoor use as well. And these hold to the feet pretty well because they are basically shoes. They got all-around warmth and fluff and comfort, but they're also quite discreet. So if you needed to pop out in the car and drive somewhere, you can do that. Aaron's done that. If you needed to go to the shop whilst you're doing that, it's going to be fine because they basically look like shoes anyway. Aaron everyone's done that. It's quite a discreet thing that you can probably even, like, once Corona's done, probably wear them at the office if you're there and your feet are cold. Fuck it, because no one's really going to notice. And if you're a little bit embarrassed by the idea of wearing slippers, these could be something that's pretty good to bridge that gap. The only real drawback I suppose they do have is that they're a bit boring. A little bit old man, but hey, you know, comfort is comfort and warmth is warmth, so sometimes that trumps the rest. But if you do want something that's pretty entertaining to look at and pretty cute as well, there's the Plush Slip Ons. Now these are fucking phenomenal. These bridge that sort of gap between, you know, function and form. They look great, they feel great, and they are just generally a nice little bridge. Now they are much more plush, typically with a stuffed sole, sometimes polystyrene, but you can't have everything, can you? Fabric tends to be a nicer feel. It is a fabric outsole, which can be a little bit of a problem because they don't tend to last as long, but they usually have a good variety of designs as well. Now, these ones are actually from T-Turtle. These are the ones I have, and they sadly discontinued them, which is a shame because I want more because they are just great, so great. But you can also find these all over the internet because it's a design that a lot of people use. They do look like typical slip-ons, but look at that, they've got that lovely bit around the back of the heel, which means they actually keep to your feet really well, offering that warmth and that cuteness. They really kind of cement a look. Only thing I would say with these is definitely be careful when it comes to the sizing, because for some reason slippers in this variety don't tend to go up to the larger sizes, as I found out. And I see pairs I want, but feet's too big. Thought I would combine these two as they're basically the same thing, slipper boots and Uggs. Now, slipper boots and Uggs are slightly different in some regards, and that's mostly in terms of the build quality and the sturdiness. Ugg boots are built out of sheepskin and hard-wearing outdoor soles because they are designed primarily as shoes, everyday use, you wear outside. Slipper boots are more for indoor use, so they're not as hard-wearing because they don't need to be, and often they're more synthetic than sheepskin, but you can find the sheepskin ones if you want. These kind of bridge the gap between like moccasins and the plush slippers if you don't want plush ones, because they obviously go all the way up the ankle. That is full ankle down warmth, usually fluff lined. Let's go with fluff lined. Fluff or fur lined, which obviously is going to feel great, and they hold to the feet really well. You can walk around in them. Sometimes you will see that the slipper boots and knockoff Ugg boots are basically the same fucking thing. I would say be careful on that, because otherwise you'll get that thing where you sort of walk on the side of them. That's no good. And of course, yes, there's Ugg boots, which are essentially slippers you can wear outside. That's basically what they are. They're great. They are a bit expensive. That might not be your first option, but if you already have them, then fine, just keep wearing them. I would say be a little bit careful with the coloured varieties, as I got a pair of the black ones, and the dye sometimes leaches into the skin, and that's not nice. That's ugh. And it takes fucking forever to get it back out again. But these are obviously great options. Here we are at the granddaddy of them all, the plush slippers, the fucking peak, the top, the best, the ones where you've got all of these different designs. You can basically pick and choose what you want to do with them. I fucking love them. Basically, they're soft toys. They're plushies that you stick your feet into. They've usually got really nice, thickly padded soles, so it feels like you're walking on pillows. There's so many different designs, so you can shape things up. What is not to love? They have designs across Disney, across animals, even shoes, for God's sake. They're great. And there's a reason I have so many of them. Now, the only problem I really have with the plush slippers is that this company, Happy Feet, who I'm not endorsed by for some reason, are the only ones who actually make them of real quality that is dependable. There are a few other companies, but they're very hard to find. And oddly enough, you can't go to the company. It's other places that sell them. But if you see plush slippers in shops or on eBay or whatnot, you will notice a massive drop-off in quality. The soles will be like paper thin. They are not built to last. They barely hold the heat, and they just feel cheap. And that's a problem, because it's typically like the paw and claw slippers that everybody likes the look of and everybody sort of wants. It's really, really fucking hard to find some that are actually built right and are going to last a while. So do be careful on what kind of money you invest on these, because the pictures might make them look fantastic, but the actual product could be really disappointing. And finally, there is the god tier of slippers. There is custom slippers. If you want a pair of slippers but you can't find what you're looking for, order some custom ones. Now, that could be a bit different for everybody. I mean, I want the most plush, the biggest, most squishiest, softest, fluffiest slippers in the world. So maybe not everybody wants that, but there are places that can do that for you. There's this guy, Fuzzfoot Inc. I have a pair, I think I have 2 pairs from him. He is fantastic. These are both custom slippers, and they are potentially some of the best things I've ever had on my feet. Oh my God. He seems to have looked at all of the slippers on available, around the rest of the world and seen, oh, okay, well, they've got shit soles, they're not built very well, I'm going to do the opposite. And he's kind of taken all of the bad things that other slippers do and worked against them to create just perfect slippers. And they are fantastic, and you will fall in love with them the second your foot slips in it. Is just mwah, so fucking comfy. Reasonably priced as well. The guy does have a bit of a queue around this time of year, but it is definitely worth checking him out if you are serious about this kind of warmth. Of course, there was the pair of slippers that nobody will ever beat as well, the wonderful, amazingly talented Astrofen made, and that's my slippers, that's me, that's the Artemis slippers. I mean, you're not going to beat that. The thick sole, the luxuriously soft lining, the plushiness, the fluff, and the best design in the world. I mean, hell, that's it. Everybody else go home. I've got the best slippers that have ever been made. Tough shit. Maybe if you were really nice and you spoke to them, you might be able to commission a pair for your Sona. Who knows? Maybe that's something you should definitely check out. But, I mean, this is a winter must for me in this house. This is peak, top tier. So there are some slipper varieties that I feel are actually worth getting. There are obviously a lot of other slipper varieties, but I've not tried them, not all of them, and some I just don't feel are worth mentioning because fuck it, these are the best. And hopefully that might inform your decision if you're starting to think, oh, actually, maybe I should get this. Maybe socks just isn't going to cut it this year, and I need something more substantial to keep my feet toasty. This should hopefully help you. I hope it does. But if you have decided that the slipper life is for you and that you're going to invest in a pair to keep yourself nice and warm and cozy, then I do have some tips and some advice for you going into it, because there are some mistakes you can make. Not big ones, I guess, but some. First of all, foot hygiene is an absolute must. I see a lot of people complaining that they don't like slippers because my feet get sweaty and stinky, and I fully understand not wanting to deal with that. That's fair, but that might mean that the slippers you've got are a little bit too heavy, maybe they're just a little bit too much for you and you have to go for a lighter pair. And also, like, if you're worried about them getting stinky, then maybe wash your feet before you put them in the slippers. Like, maybe just be clean. I see a lot of people who sort of come home from working like a 10-hour shift and it's shoes off, socks off, slippers on. I'm like, clean yourself first, please. Otherwise, you're just going to be upset when they stink. Slippers, a lot of them are also machine washable. They can be a bit tricky to dry, but definitely do that too. It will extend their lifespan. And again, it combats that whole disgusting thing. Like, seriously, be clean, folks. Please, please be clean. But on the back of that, foot care is a definite help as well. Now, I'm not going to say that everybody who wears a pair of slippers should have the softest, most well-maintained feet in the world. Obviously not. But if you are starting to notice that your feet are cold, then a little bit of foot health and TLC could help bring the circulation back up, make your feet a bit more healthy, and also, like, the softer your feet are, the more comfortable those slippers feel. Like, I've noticed that as a good thing to get into. But also, yeah, be healthy with it. If you do have issues with your feet, if you have orthotics and whatnot, then maybe be a bit more careful on the type of slippers you get. Some of them you can get with arch support. Some of them you can get that will support your skeletal structure. Maybe go for that. Obviously, if you're flat-footed and you get a lot of pain, then it might not be best to go with something that has no sole and is just going to hurt, okay? Unless you're just going to sit around in them, in which case, go for it. Slippers aren't forever, and they will obviously wear out, and you should be prepared for that, but there are many things that you can do to help, like, extend their lifespan. A lot of slippers you find with fabric soles really don't tend to last that long, but that can be easily fixed, really easily fixed. Just get some EVA foam, the type we use for, like, fursuit sandals, cut it to shape, glue it to the bottom, boom. You have just massively extended the lifespan of your slippers. Sometimes you might need to add a bit more stuffing if they've sort of flattened down a little bit, or sometimes they just need a wash. And it does come to just being careful with them, I guess. Like, don't go wearing fabric ones outside and expecting them to last forever. Keep them clean, and you should be fine with it. Learn to walk in them properly, and I really mean this one. A lot of people aren't going to be used to basically strapping pillows to their feet and waddling around the house and thinking, okay, this is fine, I can walk like this perfectly. Now, I'm perfectly used to that right now, okay? My paws are goddamn huge, so, like, it's fine. But that doesn't mean that the random pair of slippers that you try on that you think are going to be okay are going to be okay. And it's pretty easy to miss a couple of steps and snap an ankle, isn't it, Aaron? Because yes, that happened because of some slippers. So please, for the love of God, be careful in them. Make sure you can walk properly. I would just avoid going up and down stairs because that's really dangerous, especially if you've got some with not a lot of grip on the bottom. Like, if you're deciding that your feet are very cold, you're going to get some big plushy slippers, that's great, I support you in that, but probably take them off when you go up and down stairs. Just carry them and put them back on. Like, it might feel a little bit stupid, but that's a lot better than snapping an ankle. Trust us on that, okay? But there you have it. Those are a lot of the tips that I have for wearing slippers. I could talk about this all day because it's something I'm passionate about, but I will spare you all of that because I've spoken about things I'm passionate about a lot, and there's only so many times I know you want to hear it. So there you go. I hope this might inform your decision. I do get people asking me like slippers that I recommend, and like slippers sort of come and go. Like I've got lots of slippers that I probably would never be able to buy again. They just turn up and disappear, turn up and disappear. So I can't really send anybody links and be like, get this pair right here. Like even the pair that I have on right now, I can't find any more of those, which is a shame. But I can send you certain places. I'm always happy to help recommend. Hopefully this video does that too. And if you have found some slippers that have worked for you, fucking show me. I love seeing cute pairs of slippers. Like people do this and I'm like, I've never seen those before. I'm buying them. Please help me fuel my slipper addiction and send me pictures so that I can be like, right, where'd you get them from? Do they come in my size? Because I'm fucking want those. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a good one. I hope it helped maybe. If you did enjoy it, maybe you'd think about, I don't know, supporting. I mean, that could be a really amazing thing for you to do. That would be stunning. And I could maybe even talk to you then about the slippers and find you some that might work out really well. But overall, just thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And yeah, it really does mean a lot to me. It really does. And I guess I shall see you next week. Or you'll see me, obviously.